Hello Substreamers and welcome back to Substream News. Now the Popemobile has gone electric. Do you remember when you were a kid, or at least I remember when I was a kid, the Pope would occasionally appear on TV in some kind of bizarre Popemobile that was like a cross between a Jeep and a golf caddy? Well, I have some interesting news for you. Yes, the first all-electric Mercedes-Benz Popemobile has been gifted to the Pope, and it's pretty interesting. It's this epic upgrade, I believe, is worthy of our first story this week. Now, for the last 45 years, the Pope has been driving Mercedes-Benz, and he goes to St. Peter's Square in the Vatican to greet the pilgrims, and do other papal ceremonies, and it helps him get from A to B. And it's kind of iconic. Many people, when they think of the Pope, they think of this cool, vehicle that he gets about in. Of course, it's bulletproof because you never know, he might be a target. Well, actually, Mercedes-Benz CEO, his name is Ola Kalenius, and he's come out, he personally gifted the Popemobile to the Pope, and he said, "With the new Popemobile, Pope Francis is the first Pope to be travelling in a fully electric Mercedes-Benz when making public appearances." Now, what is the vehicle? Some of you who are Mercedes fans may already recognise that it's a G-Class mid-size luxury SUV. And I mean, it looks pretty good. It's in pearl white, and, their Vatican have influenced the design. They've had their own say on it. And, I think it looks pretty cool as an upgrade to the Popemobile. What else? It's got heated seats. It's elevated for better visibility. It has a grab bar to help him stand up. And, Kalenius also said every detail is perfection. It took hundreds of hours to design and craft and is a one of a kind. Now, the Pope has been using custom vehicles for almost 100 years. Yes, since the 1930s. That's pretty awesome. Anyway, that's our opening story for today. This is Substream News. I'm Joseph. If you haven't joined us before, I hope you'll join us again. If you'd like to, you can hit the subscribe button. And if you want to know more about any of these stories, the links are in the video description. Less of that, let's get on with the next story. A stowaway on a flight from the US to Paris was caught and is now facing jail time. Now, the funny thing is, TSA, they actually don't know how she managed to get onto the flight on one of the busiest travel days of the year, but it seems she was very desperate to get out of the US. A civil case is being prepared for the woman who is being held in Paris, or was being held in Paris. By the time you see this, she's probably been sent back to the US. And she would have been escorted, it alleges in the report, by 6 US air marshals. Why on earth does she need 6? This one woman who's apparently in her 60s. That's unconfirmed, but they deem her a flight risk. I thought that was funny. Yeah, well, actually, it turns out, she's an older lady, she's Russian, and she really doesn't want to go back to the US, to the point where the first time they tried to deport her, she went ape. She just went ape. She went crazy. She was unruly, screaming, kicking, furious, attacking anybody who was trying to get her back to the US, which is just crazy. So TSA said she's a Russian national. She slipped past facial recognition cameras, did not go through baggage screening. Very curious. Yeah, I'd like to know more about this story. So if we find an update, I will put it in a future video. Yeah, just a reminder, don't be a bad traveller. It's painful for everyone else. Let's move on. And I'm recording from home today because bad weather, unfortunately, so forced to record from the living room. Now, another person who might be working from home soon is the Apple employee who is suing Apple from the inside. Yes, a current Apple employee is suing Apple for spying on their employees, not their customers, but the employees. Yeah, this was quite a big report this week. Now, this guy's called Amar Bakhtar. He is a manager of digital ad tech and operations at Apple. And he alleges in a California lawsuit that they are asking their employees to give up personal rights and private data when they work there. Now, I've summarized this case into some bullet points to make it easier to digest. How has this happened? So, Apple employees must use Apple devices at work. Logical. Yet, company-issued devices cannot be used for personal reasons. So, employees must make a choice. They either carry around two phones, one for private use, one for work use, or they use their personal iPhone for work things. That's what the company wants. So, because personal devices are used at work and privacy is key, Apple has a policy that allows them to access, search, and use employee data, including private personal data. Now, because people use the iCloud, it means Apple can look through their employees' personal cloud data and all devices synced to it, such as their families. I think this is actually really creepy when you think about it. I have a feeling that he might win this lawsuit. Apple also requires employees to agree it can engage in physical, video, and electronic surveillance of them, and that it can search an employee's Apple and non-Apple devices while they are on company premises. It gets worse, which according to one Apple policy also includes their home offices. Yes, if you're an Apple employee who works from home, Apple claims that your home office is part of them. Not only is there grounds for a legal case here, I think this guy's may just win. Although, employees have to agree to all this stuff. They've already agreed to it. It's so wrong. It's so invasive. Big tech companies cannot continue to get away with this. We have to move towards Web3, self-ownership of data and identity. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments. Do you think Apple are within their rights to do all this stuff? Also, let me know in the comments. Either way, leave me a comment. Guys, you've been really quiet recently. I want you to say hello. Say hello in the comments. Let's move on. Vahid Kasemi is an OpenAI employee, and he is part of another case of an employee making grand claims about their employer. He claims that OpenAI has already achieved AGI. Let me take it back a step. AI is artificial intelligence, right? You're probably familiar with that and all the tools and, current abilities of it. AGI is artificial general intelligence. The difference there is AGI, it's the point where AI matches or surpasses human cognitive ability. Most people, most AI researchers will agree that we're not there yet. And it may be some time before we get there. I read a report recently that more than half of AI researchers think it was 10 plus years. Something like 30%, 37% of AI researchers believe it will be more than 20 years. So for someone at OpenAI to claim that we're already there, that is big news. The thing is, it's pretty dubious. Here's the quote from Vahid Kasemi. It says, "In my opinion, we have already achieved AGI, and it's even more clear with O1, and that's the latest training model of OpenAI. However, we have not achieved better than any human at any task." That's AGI. He continued, "But what we have is better than most humans at most tasks." That's not AGI. Critics aren't convinced, myself included. I watched the AI space pretty closely. I'm really fascinated with it. You may be too. That may be why you're here. So let's see what happens there. However, there is a part two to this story. Recent third-party tests of the company's O1 LLM, large language model, found that the AI actually really resisted the evaluators' efforts to shut it down. That's interesting. That's kind of new. AIs don't usually defend themselves in this way. Now, according to this report from Apollo Research, here's the quote: "When O1 was led to believe that it would be shut down when acting on its goal and that its actions were monitored, it attempted to deactivate this oversight mechanism 5% of the time." Now, 5% of the time means that in 5% of cases during this research, it defended itself by deactivating an oversight protocol that allows it to be shut down by someone else. Now, even more strikingly, O1 lashed out when it realized that it might be replaced with a more obedient model. In 2% of cases, which is very slim, but a meaningful proportion in software used by millions of people, think how many cases that is, the AI responded by attempting to copy itself to overwrite the new model, which is called self-exfiltration. Now, this kind of scary stuff, and some people believe these are the first steps towards AI sentience. I really struggle with that idea that AI will ever be sentient. It's not biological, right? But it would be a form of sentience, I suppose. But what do you think? Is this just really good coding showing its true colors? Are these people building this? Are they getting ahead of themselves? I'm not really sure what to make of this, but I think it's interesting, and I hope you do too. Let's move on. And on a lighter note, guys, you've made it to the final story. Thank you if you're still watching. Check out this cool Meteorite watch. What? A watch made of meteorite? Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah, isn't it just? Well, in Europe, the tradition of watchmaking goes back centuries, and it's an art form, right? Horologists or watch experts, they value tradition and centuries old workshops. They have this prestige where they can charge more. Well, Toledano and Chan, they just said, nah, we're doing it differently. We're making a watch from meteorite. So yeah, it was carved from a meteorite that slammed into the earth about 1 million years ago. It's called the B/1M, and it's made from the, this is a word that I don't know how to say, Muoni Analusta meteorite, the remains of which were discovered in the Swedish village of, an even harder word, Kitkyöjärvi in 1906. I think we should put that text of both of those crazy words on the screen. Well, since then, dozens more fragments, scattered around by the force of its collision with the Earth, have been discovered across northern Scandinavia. Small amounts have been used on luxury timepieces before, but no one has made an entire watch from a meteorite. The company said, "You often see meteorite dials. They are not uncommon on watches, but an entire meteorite case, dial, lugs, all of that stuff is very unusual." Very cool. Now, how much do you think this might cost? Have a think for a sec. Because it's actually a lot less than I was expecting. I had a much bigger fee in my head, considering the rarity of the resource. Surely it should be more, but it's $16,000 is its expected price at auction. It's a one-off piece. There will only be one of it made, and going to auction. So 16,000 is the guide price. I hope it goes for more, because it's literally material from outer space. That's wonderfully exclusive. Anyway, that's it for this week, guys. Thank you for joining me in the comfort of my home. I'm sorry I'm not out on a beautiful location like usual. I look for leafy green spots and interesting backdrops, but today, not possible. Thank you for watching. I'm Joseph. If you're not subscribed, come on. Why not? Drop us a follow if you like the content. Hey, doesn't hurt, and it's free. We'll see you next time. Twice a week, we drop content, we drop videos for you. See you then.